Hey everyone, welcome to my channel. Today's video is going to be talking about all things pregnancy and all of the symptoms that I had leading up to my missed period before finding out I was pregnant. So, forewarning, this video might get a little bit TMI. If you are new here, I am currently 11 weeks pregnant when I'm filming this video, and I found out I was pregnant at 9 DPOs, so 5 days before my missed period. I kept track of all of my symptoms leading up to my first positive pregnancy test at 9 DPO, and I had quite a few of them, so I did write them all down in my phone day by day, DPO by DPO, starting at 1 DPO all the way up to 9 DPO right before I took my pregnancy test, and even a little after I took my pregnancy test. So before I get started with all of my 2-week wait symptoms or early pregnancy symptoms, please don't forget to subscribe to my channel so that you don't miss any more pregnancy related or motherhood related videos from me on my channel. We would love to have you stick around. And without further ado, we're gonna get started, and I'm gonna tell you all of my early pregnancy symptoms day by day. A few things I want to say before I get started with telling you all of my early pregnancy symptoms. A little history about my period and my cycles. I have irregular periods. I have 35-day cycles. I am also breastfeeding, but I was breastfeeding when I conceived, which also made my cycles irregular. And I don't ovulate until around day 19 through 21. So my cycles are longer, but that doesn't affect like any of my symptoms or how long I have to wait in between taking a test or anything. So with that said, let's get into 1 DPO. And literally for 1 DPO, I have nothing. I have no symptoms written down, which would make sense because at 1 day post-conception, you're probably not going to have too much going on. And I feel like the first 3 to 4 days you probably wouldn't, but I did have symptoms starting on 2 DPO, which is crazy. I've never had symptoms starting so early, but I started getting chin acne on 2 DPO, which chin acne is always a telltale sign of pregnancy for me. I even have some like chin acne now, but always in the early stages of pregnancy, I get chin acne, and I don't necessarily get so much chin acne when it comes to like my period. So I always notice when I'm getting chin acne, and it always makes me wonder if I'm pregnant. But this time, starting on 2 DPO, I started getting some chin breakouts. I also had slight lower belly and back cramps, just something that you will notice is like kind of a ongoing symptom throughout these days. And then I also had a sty in my left eye starting on 2 DPO, which I actually did know this from my previous pregnancy, that styes are a sign of pregnancy or something that you can get in pregnancy. I don't know the science behind it, but I looked it up again when I got this sty, and it does say that it can like be something involved with pregnancy. But with my second pregnancy, I also got a sty really early on in my pregnancy, and so that was kind of like a sign to me that something might be going on. But again, that was only 2 DPO. 3 DPO, again, chin acne is worse, sty is worse. That's what I wrote. So my chin acne started just breaking out, spreading, and I will say I had like a lot of acne on my face, like big acne too, which is very abnormal for me. I usually have pretty clear skin, even during that time of the month. Like I might get a pimple here and there, but nothing like acne prone. So I did take note of that. And like I said, my sty was worse on 3 DPO. Starting on 4 DPO, I feel like this is where things started to get a little more noticeable for me. So I wrote I had more cramps. I was getting cramps like really low. I was wondering if maybe they were period cramps, if my period was going to start early. But I was also having them in my lower back. This was like different to me, and it was very noticeable. They weren't like menstrual cramps. I don't even know how to describe it. They were like really strong. I remember telling my husband like it feels like I'm having early contractions, like early labor, which sounds intense, but it's just a different type of cramp, and I kept having it day by day, which you guys will see. Also, I wrote on 4 DPO that my teeth hurt, and my teeth hurting is always a sign of pregnancy for me. It happened with every single one of my pregnancies, but my teeth started hurting, and they kind of just get like a sore feeling like in my teeth and my gums. Like it's kind of hard to describe, but that's something that I noticed on 4 DPO. And then also I wrote more chin acne, so it was just getting worse day by day. On 5 DPO, I wrote that I was short of breath. Maybe it was just a coincidence, but shortness of breath is always an early sign of pregnancy for me, and I feel like some people think that shortness of breath in pregnancy is only because like you're big and you can only get it towards the end of your pregnancy, and it doesn't happen early on. But actually I think the influx of a certain hormone, maybe progesterone, causes you to have shortness of breath. So it can be an early sign, especially in those early days as your hormone levels are increasing. It can cause shortness of breath, which you might even notice at this point in this video that I'm kind of short of breath. And then again, I wrote on 5-DPO chin acne. So that was a big one for me. Obviously, I noticed that a lot. 6-DPO, I remember this day very specifically. I was very tired. I had a headache and I was on edge and cranky. And I remember I was at my mom's house this day and we were having like a family dinner night. My husband was there. We do this every once in a while. We were all cooking together and I was so on edge and cranky. I was so impatient for the food to be done. I did not want to cook. I was getting like frustrated with my mom, which like never happens. I was getting frustrated with my husband. Like I just wanted to be alone. I was getting frustrated with my kids. Like I remember I was so cranky. I was exhausted. I don't think I napped, but I was like laying down and lounging a lot of the day. Like I just wanted it to be bedtime. So this day, 6-DPO rings in my head every time I think of like my early symptoms. This is kind of where I started to wonder, maybe I'm pregnant. This is kind of abnormal for me. I'm usually a pretty positive person and I can like hold my emotions in, especially if I'm like angry or cranky. But this day I just could not. Like I was letting it all fly. 7-DPO, the only thing that I wrote was that I woke up with a headache. So the past 2 days I had a headache and I remember it being a pretty severe headache. I was taking Tylenol for it and I could not shake it. When I went to bed on 6-DPO, I still had a headache. And when I woke up on 7-DPO, it was still there, and that was noticeable for me because usually after I rest, my headaches will usually go away. I usually don't have a problem with like headaches and stuff. So I wrote down that I woke up with a headache on 7-DPO. 8-DPO, it says I was extremely cranky and irritable and short-tempered again. So this was kind of like an ongoing thing for a few days for me, which like I said, I remember like starting when I started getting cranky around 6-DPO, kind of was ongoing, and I was just very like on edge, short-tempered, and I just didn't feel like myself. And then I also remember writing down this night, I was laying in bed and I was kind of laying on my chest, and I wrote down that my boobs were hurting at 8:40 p.m. Super sore when laying down. If you've been pregnant before or you've had this symptom during pregnancy, sore boobs is a pretty telltale sign of pregnancy. It can also be a sign of your menstrual cycle starting, but for me it's usually a pregnancy symptom, and it's like a certain type of soreness and tenderness on my boobs when, especially like when I'm laying down on my chest or in a certain position. So I remember I was laying down at night ready for bed and I was like, I have to write this down. So on 9-DPO, I did test. That morning before I tested, I did write down that I was having phantom kicks, which if you've been pregnant before, you probably like experienced this maybe your second or third pregnancy, but it's just where you feel like you're having flutters in your stomach, and it feels like baby kicks, but obviously they're not actual baby kicks. Baby's way too small to feel anything, but it could just be maybe your organ shifting, your uterus shifting, things like that, or like implantation. I'm not really sure, but phantom kicks are a real thing, and I did get that in my second pregnancy when I got my positive pregnancy test. So this time around, when I felt the phantom kicks, I was like, I'm gonna test today on 9-DPO, which I thought was super early to test, and I definitely thought it was gonna be negative, but I got a positive digital test that day. And if you haven't watched my pregnancy reaction video, I will leave it up in the iCard and down in the description. But I got my positive pregnancy test this day, and those were all of my symptoms leading up to it. And then I also wrote on 9-DPO that my teeth hurt. They were hurting all day after I got that positive test. So those were all of my signs and symptoms and early signs of pregnancy that I had taken note of. Basically all of my 2-week wait symptoms, although I didn't wait exactly 2 weeks to take my test. I tested pretty early, but those are just some of the telltale signs that I was taking note of, writing down, and noticing just in case I was pregnant and I did want to share, and I knew that I wanted to share these symptoms in this video with you if I was pregnant. That is going to be all for this video. Like I said, I am 11 weeks pregnant now, so obviously all of those symptoms were early pregnancy symptoms for me. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe. I do a lot of pregnancy related content, motherhood related content. I am a mother of two little girls, so I share a lot of day in the life vlogs, routines, and things like that, and just taking care of them as a stay-at-home mom of two. So if you're into that, don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye everyone.